I didn't go to Iraq, and I know there's a lot of veterans out here who've sworn an oath to defend the Constitution. We need a big round of applause for all our veterans out in the crowd.
Thank you. I do want to just say right at the beginning of this that I took the time to pray and ask God to guide me in what I was going to say. And I feel that is so important, vitally important, for our existence and survival, especially in this world that we live in today. The Second Amendment was ratified to protect freedom. But what is freedom? We talk about it with reverence, we sing about it, we even pray about it. But what is it? Freedom is to do whatever you like as long as you are not infringing on another's life, liberty, or property. Freedom is the liberty to do anything that does not violate the rights of another person. The Second Amendment was drafted and ratified to protect your freedom to do anything that does not infringe upon the rights of another person. This is the liberty, the freedom, the justice, and the rights we sing about in our national anthem and celebrate on the 4th of July. This is the freedom we pray to our God to protect and defend. This freedom is what we have been charged to protect, and the Second Amendment makes it legal for us to defend our freedoms and the freedoms of our neighbors. Are you living? Were you born on this earth? Touch your face. Shake the hand of your neighbor next to you. We are alive. The Second Amendment was created to protect the defense, to defend this precious life of ours. Do you have a place to lay your head? Do you have a place on this earth in which you live? You are alive, right? So you naturally must have a place on this earth to live. Your home, the places you work, even the cars you travel in. The Second Amendment was ratified and drafted to protect the right to defend against those that would infringe upon the places on earth in which you live. Will you eat today? Have you eaten today? Do you need food to live? Will you die if you do not eat or drink? Does not all food come from the earth? The Second Amendment was passed to protect the right to physically stop those who would regulate or restrict you from bringing food to your table. A criminal is one who infringes upon the life, liberty, and property of another person. There are two types of criminals: the street criminal and the government criminal. One steals your purse and the other steals your country. The Second Amendment was created to protect the right to physically and violently stop either type of criminal if necessary. So I ask you these questions. If a legally elected body of people unanimously vote that you cannot read books in your home, would that be considered law, or is that a crime? If the state legislatures passed a bill that you cannot teach your children math, Would that be considered law, or is that a crime? If U.S. Congress passes a bill that requires you to use a certain type of light bulb in your home, is that a federal law, or is that a federal crime? And if you were caught reading books in your home, or teaching your children math, or using the wrong light bulb, would it be justified for police officers to kick in your door and drag you off to prison? Would it be justified for an attorney to prosecute you and sentence you for these acts? After all, you were disobeying. Also, is it the sole duty of the judge or the jury to consider only the law as it is written? Government criminals would have you believe that no matter what they do, it is the law. They would also have you believe that you do not have a right to defend yourselves against them while they are enforcing their regulations. Government criminals would have us believe that monopoly on force is healthy to a nation. But the Second Amendment teaches us otherwise. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This amendment teaches us that force, including obtaining it, properly using it, and keeping weapons for the purpose of force, should not be monopolized. The Second Amendment teaches us that it is not safe to consolidate force into one body. The Second Amendment describes that it is necessary to have arms and to unite as individuals, even militias, with those arms in order to secure freedom. The Second Amendment alludes that good people must unite as neighbors to defend against criminals, especially when those criminals gain control of the force of law. As many of you may know, my father, brothers, and my friends, along with myself, spent nearly 2 years in federal prison, fighting and struggling through several trials, never allowed to touch or directly see our children or wives. In the end, through the grace of God, it was proven who the true criminals were, and I stand here today as a free man. During this time in prison, I had occasion to meet many interesting people. One was very intelligent and a repentant previous gang leader who wanted to get out and make change for a good. After deep conversation, he said, "When I get out, I am going to leave this country. I will never be free as a felon. I have to live free. I want to go to Africa and help those people." And then he asked me, "Mr. Bundy, what do you think I should do there? What do you think those people in Africa need?" Interesting enough, I had just previously had another conversation with a man who spent parts of his life in Africa. He explained to me about the extreme poverty in most areas, how they lived in mud huts or rickety structures made of materials found in the garbage. Most have dirt floors and no furniture, and their families' lives are torn apart by warlords. The question had to be asked. Why do they live the way they do? Why do they not use materials to build better homes and furniture? The fact that they hauled water on their backs many miles each day eluded that they were not lazy. Being lazy did not seem to be a probable reason for their poverty. So what was the cause of the extreme poverty? After more study and understanding, I am confident to report that the reason for this poverty is not that because those people have come to believe that it is not worth owning anything of value. Anytime they obtain something of value, it is taken from them. taken by warlords that sally forth out of the mountains, or taken by the government for not having permission to use it. Even their children are stolen. Their young boys are forced to be soldiers, and their young girls for even worse reasons. Why dig a well and purchase a pump when it will just be taken from you? Why build furniture for your homes when it will just be stolen or destroyed? Why build a home that's more than a mud hut if it will just be occupied by force or burnt down? Why try to establish good family relationships when your children are just kidnapped, enslaved, forced to fight and die, or even worse, please the wicked men in their most vile ways? I told this former gang leader that the people in Africa only need one thing. They do not need welfare. We here in the United States could send them 1,000 water pumps. We could send them food, clothing, money, and materials, and it would do them very little good. Most of it would be taken to enrich those that are causing the poverty. The only thing those people need is defense. Pure, hard, ruthless, unadulterated defense. Defense against those that are taking the life, liberty, and property from those people. I further told him that these people had proper defense, they would begin to build better homes. They would put floors in their houses and buy or build furniture. They would begin to trade and establish an economy. They would better take care of their children and look forward to a brighter future. They would install pumps and pipes, have running water in their homes, and maybe even have indoor sewer plumbing. They would be able to keep the fruits of their labors and be motivated to continue to produce. The key to this prosperity and happiness hinges upon defense against criminals, both street criminals and government criminals. The prosperity enjoyed in the United States would not have been possible if criminals were allowed to take the life, liberty, and property of the people. And the prosperity of this people today will be lost if we continue to allow criminals to take the lives, liberty, and properties of this people. The Second Amendment was created, ratified, and put in full force to ensure that criminals, both street and government, do not diminish us to mud huts. It is each of our duty to ensure that this does not happen to ourselves or to our neighbors. And the Second Amendment makes it legal. May God bless America as we truly defend freedom. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you.
This anti-Second Amendment movement. They've declared that past generations don't know how to use a democracy. Their media allies have silenced opposition, and they've gone so far as to declare that they want to see the Second Amendment repealed. But despite these anti-freedom individuals, there are many teens who do support our right to keep and bear arms. There are many young people who do own firearms for hunting and for sport shooting. There are many young people who do understand that gun-free zones are the places most likely to see gun violence. And there are many young people who recognize that the horrors at Parkland might have been avoided if the good guys with guns had been man enough to use them. But our fight to preserve the Second Amendment is about more than just the right to own a firearm for hunting or sports shooting or even for the defense of schools. It is about upholding a uniquely American legacy of an armed citizenry. This is a legacy which spans the length and breadth of our nation's history. One could argue, in fact, that it founded this nation. On April 19, 1775, British regulars were dispatched to the Massachusetts towns of Lexington and Concord with the intent of disarming the local populace. Rather than submit and allow themselves to suffer tyranny, the local militiamen resisted and kicked the ever-loving daylights out of those redcoats. It was during this confrontation that the famed shot heard round the world was fired, initiating our war for independence. The legacy of an armed citizenry is a fundamental aspect of both America and America's history. And although that legacy has endured over the past 2 centuries, America has changed drastically since that day. American teens now march through the streets of our country's largest cities, demanding that our government strip away our right to self-protection. They call their policies gun control, comprehensive gun reform. Let us please just set aside that their definition of common sense means advocating policies that have failed literally everywhere they have been implemented. But to add insult to injury, our progressive adversaries claim to speak with the authority of every member of America's youth. They take it for granted that if you are of a certain age, you must automatically agree with them. They declare that all of our nation's young people wish to see our constitutional rights taken from us and destroyed. This collectivist groupthink could not be farther from the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here today as a young person, as an American, and as a patriot, to serve as living proof that theirs is a vile and arrogant claim. I have met many other young people from around this country who agree with me that the Second Amendment is one of the most important facets of our Bill of Rights, and that we have a sacred duty to protect it. We, as young people, must diligently educate, prepare, and equip ourselves to fulfill that duty. We must not be afraid to speak out and speak up, because we have been misrepresented by the likes of David Hogg and the gun control movement. Their liberal media allies have silenced us when we protest this treatment. When we dissent from their narrative, we are attacked. But we cannot allow that to discourage us. So I would like to take this opportunity to set the record straight for both myself and for millions of like-minded young Americans. CNN doesn't speak for us. The gun control movement doesn't speak for us. And David Hogg, you do not speak for us. They do not speak for us because there is no age limit on patriotism or on love of liberty. They do not speak for us because we will not sacrifice the legacy handed down to us from those heroic men at Lexington and Concord. They do not speak for us because we will not betray every generation that has gone before us by sacrificing our sacred American birthright. And they do not speak for us because the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is our stand. This is our moment. We shall not retreat from it, and we shall not compromise. Thank you very much.